So, if you're anything like the millions of other Twitch viewers over the last few weeks, and you've been watching your favorite streamers play Valorant for 14 hours a day while trying to get your beta key, you've probably noticed that many of these streamers keep ending up in games against other huge streamers and former Counter-Strike and Overwatch pros. Today, we're going to talk about why. Hey guys, it's Nyxre, and today I want to discuss the real reason why you're seeing these large Twitch streamers like Shroud, Ninja, Pokimane, Summit, and others constantly matching up against other large streamers and professional players of similar games like Counter-Strike. The answer is actually pretty simple, but it's a two-parter. Well, actually 3 parts if you consider the fact that they all had access to the beta before anyone else, so they were bound to eventually play against each other, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm referring to is a system in place within Valorant that is forcing these matchups to happen, and it's something which has become increasingly common in multiplayer games in the last few years, and that is skill-based matchmaking. For those of you who don't know, skill-based matchmaking is effectively a system which is designed to place players of similar skill values against each other in an attempt to create highly competitive games and to avoid ruining the experience of new players who are still learning the absolute basics. You can almost equate this to a ranked mode available in most games, but in this case, it's taking place in Valorant's unrated mode, which is the only mode currently available. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, that makes sense. I mean, Shroud is insane at every FPS he plays, Ninja has performed amazingly well in several games and used to play Halo competitively, and Summit also used to play Counter-Strike at the highest level. But what about other large streamers like Pokimane, who don't have any competitive gaming background? Let's get this out of the way right now. I'm not suggesting that large streamers like Pokimane are bad at the game. I honestly think it's way too early in the life of the game to truly determine if anyone is above or below average, unless they're constantly at the top or bottom of the scoreboard. And if the game has skill-based matchmaking, and Poki is being placed in these matches against other large streamers and former professionals, clearly she has to be just as good, right? Well, no. You see, the way the algorithms behind skill-based matchmaking works is that it takes the average skill level of all members on the team and attempts to match them against another team with an average skill level around the same. By now, I'm sure you've noticed that pretty much every Valorant streamer has been partying up with other large streamers because it helps their overall viewership and avoids anyone using the in-game chat to say something that could get that streamer in trouble. So, surely enough, when a large Twitch streamer with a roughly average skill level joins a party with 2 or 3 other large streamers who are well above average, it will tend to place them in matches against stronger teams who are primarily comprised of professionals from similar games like Counter-Strike and Overwatch. The algorithm doesn't just take into account your last 2 or 3 games either, and because of that, these people can then join a party with other average or near average level players and still be placed against other large streamers or pros because their skill level, according to the formula, is now much higher if they were on a team with much better players and they won a few games. Really, you see this happen all the time in games like League of Legends, where an otherwise average streamer ends up at a much higher rank than you'd otherwise expect because they're constantly playing with people who are generally above them in skill level. And again, I'm not suggesting that streamers like Poki are bad at the game. Actually, as a byproduct of constantly being in these matches against really good players, large streamers who aren't necessarily that great at the game are more likely to improve at a faster rate than typical because they're effectively forced to if they want to compete in any of the matches they are placed in. After playing enough games with good players on both teams, you're bound to pick up on some of the little tricks and nuances that make those players so good to begin with. It's this exact reason why someone like Shroud was so interested in seeing what the developers were doing when he was playing against them, because they were so much better. By watching what they were doing differently, he knew that he'd be able to get better at the game because he could learn a lot by just playing against them and finding out what worked for them and what didn't. To be honest, this system has worked perfectly in Riot's favor in regards to overall viewership on Twitch. Having these full parties of high-skilled players and large Twitch streamers means that everyone can turn into their favorite stream, and they are in turn exposed to other streamers who they may have never heard of, but they're still playing the same game. This means the viewers have a choice at who they want to watch play Valorant, and at the end of the day, I don't think Riot really cares who you're watching as long as it's getting eyes on their new game. So for those of you who are still grinding out those hours on Twitch trying to finally get that beta key drop, keep an eye out on the scoreboard during all of these games. You'll likely see some other names that you recognize. Of course, this will become less common as the beta increases in overall size, as the amount of available players at each skill level will become larger and will make it harder for these content creators to randomly get matched against each other. That's all I have for this video. It's been a very long time since I've made edited content like this, so if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like so that I know you would like to see more videos like this. And if you want, you can even subscribe to see future videos as I upload them. I hope you're all enjoying playing Valorant so far. I know I have, and I'm excited to continue creating more content, so until then, I will see you all in the next one.